Hi, I'm Faerisk, your new favorite artist. You read that video title right. I used to hate OCs. But why? Before I explain, let me tell you about the drawing I'm working on in the background. In December of 2025, I opened $5 commissions on VGen to grow my portfolio and get verified over there. I mainly drew other people's OCs for this. This OC is called Lewis, and he's a very beautiful character that belongs to the wonderful Be Still. Check out their links in the video description. Thank you for commissioning me, and big thank you to everyone else who did as well. It was so much fun to draw all of your characters. Now let's dive into today's topic. A few years ago, I didn't get the appeal of OCs at all. Let me explain further by going back to my teenage years. I've basically been an artist for my whole life now, becoming a professional about 7 years ago. I started out with mainly doing fan art or drawing random people and designs here and there throughout the years, and that never really changed. I had no real direction, but I knew I wanted to reach people with my art and maybe make a living off of it. That dream has yet to come true though. I seem to love what I would call canon characters from popular media and spent lots of time drawing fan arts of my faves. Thus I struggled heavily to understand why anyone would come up with their original character at all. I didn't understand the purpose of it, the intended use, or the reason why anyone else except the creator would care about the OC and so on. It all seemed rather cringe to me to have your own characters, give them a name, and by the nature of it, demand others to be interested in them even though they only seem to represent your very personal interests at the most. I also struggled my whole life to create this suspensive belief that is needed to believe in a world that doesn't exist somewhere else yet, and in characters that follow their own logic, if you understand what I mean, because if you create your own world and your own characters, there's a coherence that only you understand because it lives inside of your head and it doesn't follow certain laws. I mean, canonized fictional universes, and by canonized I just mean accepted in pop culture, you have the same problem, but it's more believable because it's a whole franchise, and if you're just a regular person having OCs in a universe, why should I believe in that? That was my struggle. Or maybe, for the lack of a better term, invest in it. I just didn't see the sense in it. I really hope you understand what I'm trying to say, and I will explain further why I don't believe in this anymore. Not that I didn't have OCs myself, I had something similar, I guess. I used to have this extremely generic catgirl persona, for example, that I developed over time. It was more of a branding though. I had some recurring character designs, which I redrew sometimes over the course of a few years, and I also drew lots and lots of random characters in my sketchbooks. I already had it in me, but cringe culture unfortunately really had a hard grip on me in my teens to early 20s. I also lacked consistency because I didn't know what kind of artist I wanted to be. Additionally, there were lots of characters to enjoy out there already, with existing backstories and content to refer to, and if you were to draw or cosplay them, you would get something out of it based on the approval and appreciation of people who also like that character. I now know that this opinion was very limited. As you might expect, my opinions on this changed as I fairly recently joined the OC community simply because my interests shifted over the last 6 years. I got into D&D, where playing your own character is a key feature of the game. I started gaming and I started to feel frustrated with doing fan art when I noticed I was drawing the same stuff as everyone else. I also noticed that I wasn't drawing characters because I liked them myself, and I started to be influenced by trending characters. Genshin, for example, in hopes I would gather more likes if I posted fan art of those characters. Meanwhile, entirely obscuring the meaning of fan art in the first place, to be honest. I really wanted to become popular with my art. My big goal was to get commissions in the end, though it never worked out. Up until the beginning of 2025, I ran a sticker/stationery business on Etsy, which doesn't exist anymore, but that's a story for another time. Back then, for the first time, I experienced the freedom to deviate from only doing fan art. I wanted to create products which were more timeless, which were less attached to trend cycles. Though I still pushed out update after update and kept up the hustle, I felt this need creeping up somewhere to create my own characters, so people might develop an interest in my products through being interested with my fictional universe instead of only relying on the look of my art style. But I ended up not selling on Etsy anymore after doing my rebrand, and I struggled with keeping it up labor-wise anyways. So after my shop came crashing down, I had to realize the fact that I was extremely burned out from doing all this art that was only created for numbers. Those numbers being likes, engagement, and money. I worked my ass off just to get little out of it. I was happy with doing it for a while, but it eventually stressed me out more than it provided contentment with my artistic journey and creations. It was hard, but I decided to drop my dream of becoming a successful shop owner and redirected my energy to drawing fan art again. Also reviving my art account as I was busy with feeding my shop Instagram and producing as many reels as possible. I had been drawing some rendered pieces here and there, but it also didn't kick off at all during my Etsy days. As I mentioned, I started gaming only a few years ago, and one game especially influenced my shift in interests, and that game is Baldur's Gate 3. I discovered my desire to get into D&D, enjoyed playing my own character lots, and also rediscovered that I would like to start drawing more adult content and mostly drawing for my own pleasure. I realized I could eventually do whatever I wanted. This phase still overlapped with my Etsy days, but it is the basis on where I stand now. Because I obsessed over BG3 so much, I ended up looking for people to play D&D with and found my first group. I had to come up with my own character and deeply fell in love with the progress of that, since I had no idea what I was doing. This was my first taste of what OCs can really do for you and why they are so fun to create, have, and play in this case. Then another discovery helped me to understand the fun of OCs even more. Of course, I'm talking about Art Fight. I had heard about it in the past and friends joined and posted about it, but I never understood what it was or why I should be interested. If you're interested in what Art Fight is, I have a whole video on that. But as I said, I now had my own character I was obsessed with through D&D, and lots of creators popped up on my feed with their OC content, as it has become quite popular to post OC content again recently. I felt as if I regained a new attraction after feeling lost from having to quit my shop and being in a hole of burnout and demotivation. Something really inspired me, and I started creating things just for me. I built out my Art Fight page, revived old designs and turned them into OCs and gave them life and purpose. I think I rather rediscovered my love for art and creation at that point. I'm really happy I did. And I also saw the love and care that others put into their OCs and also into my OCs, which I hadn't noticed or respected as much until I arrived at that point myself. Now I'm heavily invested in some artists and friends' OCs, while also appreciating fan art more than before, because I grew my appreciation for creating art in general. I would love to know what your journey towards OC content was, and what do you get out of it? I also want to mention that OC artists create the most interesting content out there because they are so obsessed with their OCs. I hope I can use this energy and this love and this passion to become the artist that I really want to be. I also want to develop my own artistic consistency and integrity through working with content that is original to me. There's lots and lots to gain from creating your own world, your own characters, a cohesiveness that you only can have with your own IP essentially. I hope this video was interesting to you, and if so, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. I would also love to create even more OC content in the future, and if you're interested in that, please tell me down below. I would love to make videos where I yap about all of my OCs, for example. If you haven't, check out my other videos. Also check out my other platforms via this QR code. I also have a link posted in the video description. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. See you in the next one.